Namaste, everybody. Namaste. I'm Chi. Thank you for joining me on Divine Vibrations with Chi. As today we try to raise our vibrations and our frequency with some positive affirmations. And this week is week 2 of my soul challenge. So those of you who may have seen my other previous videos, I am doing Dr. Renee Purdy's My Soul Challenge. It is a card set that is got challenging cards in there, not only positive sayings, but as well little tasks. Like last week, my soul challenge was to learn how to accept thank yous and be open to receiving positive stimulus and such, because not all of us are really great at doing that, right? Like sometimes we shy away from other people giving us positive stimulus. And that isn't a good thing, because we have to be in a receiving and open mode. And that is part of the give and take of life. If you're not open to receive, then you are in some way closed off. So I think this is awesome. I have decided to embark on her challenge to raise my vibration personally and to reach a different level, because I believe that this body, this place, this time, this is just time being. And time is actually kind of not exactly the best word to use. It just is, and this is a vehicle for what lies within, which is the energy body, and the energy body is our soul, which is here to perform a task, and several tasks actually, and learn and grow into a higher being. And we forget that, right? The veil is cloudy sometimes. When we come into this world, we come in as very innocent babes, and we are reliant upon our parents to teach us that concept that we are here for a soul purpose, not a human purpose. The human part is the vehicle, right? It's the car you get in and drive to the destination. And along the way, you are experiencing a journey. If anyone, that's the best analogy I can give. And so I'm on a trip, you guys. I'm on a soul trip. And I've made some pit stops along the way that have been super negative, and I've made some pit stops along the way that have been just amazing and uplifting and have helped me along the journey. So this is one of the pit stops that I feel that are growing me in a positive way versus a painful way, which some of my choices have led to. Haven't we all? And the biggest thing here about this is that you forgive yourself, right? You forgive yourself the experiences that maybe weren't so positive that we learned from, because that is super important. And that's one of those things that we forget to do as human beings, is forgive ourselves. I forgive myself the challenges that I have had and the mistakes I have made and the people that I shouldn't have encountered or engaged with that I did engage with, you know. But in the end, ultimately, they to some degree have made me the person I am today, because I'm much more discerning of certain people or certain types of people. I'm able to see people's motives for what they are. I'm able to know where I am, right? And that's a huge part about this journey, is that we are always trying to be somebody else. We're trying to emulate other people, and emulation is a form of flattery. It is nice when people copy you, right? I mean, who doesn't want to have their style copied? If you're Cardi B, you're living high off of that. Other people are enjoying trying to be like Cardi B, right? But guess what? Cardi B is Cardi B. She's who she is. And that's what makes her so fantastic, right? That's what makes her so enriching, is that she's not afraid to be herself. If the world was like that, where we weren't afraid to be ourselves and be who we were meant to be, this place would be a whole lot better of a place, because then we wouldn't be trying so hard to be somebody else and something else. We would have our own style, and wouldn't it be great if people were more accepting of people's individuality? And I think that's part of the reason why people struggle with, people being transgender or gay, or people of color, or our world tends to be somewhat monochromatic in some ways, even in other cultures. In Indian culture, that's Indian Sri Lankan culture, that's one of the things that is huge. They want to lighten up because they want lighter skin is better. And is it? I don't know. Everybody's trying to get a tan and paying for it. I might think that being born with a tan is pretty awesome and more affordable. Anyway, so I think we shouldn't put people down for their differences, that we should celebrate their differences and actually be grateful that people are different, because what a boring world we would be if everybody was the same. So let me just first, before I go to the soul challenge, pull out our affirmation for the day. Here's my affirmation toolkit. I love this bag. It makes me so happy. It makes me think of fishing, actually, and I love fishing. But let's pull out what the universe wants us to know today that is positive. Let's see. All right. It says, I am open to new and exciting opportunities. I am open to new and exciting opportunities. Yes, I am. Being open to new and exciting things is a good thing. When somebody puts up a hand or a roadblock to something new, they're actually sacrificing their own opportunity for growth, right? Because they're not willing to look at it. If somebody was to put down something that they don't understand, which in our world we tend to do, when we don't understand something, we find some way to negate it, or we find some way to put it down. We find some way to make fun of it. And that is the problem, right? Like, if we did that, we'd never have like sushi, or the Western world would not know of Indian food, or any other kinds of foods. Just think about just the food industry alone. If we weren't open to new and exciting types of food or opportunities to try those foods, how bland everything would be. No offense, but I know a lot of people love Thanksgiving dinner, and I kind of do too. But it's kind of a bland dinner, and coming from a culture that has spice, I love flavor, and Thanksgiving is kind of just salty, kind of, kind of like some of our other traditions, just salty. Anyway, so I am open to new and exciting opportunities. And that's one thing I have to say. When we came to America, immigrants are much more mindful of this state of mind, right? They're willing to try new and different things, whereas people that are stagnant in their own culture, and that's not just America, that's other countries too. If this world would just open up, what an amazing world we would be. I had a partner who was like that. He always had something negative to say about stuff that's new that he didn't understand. And he wasn't willing to look at new things in an open mindset. He was super closed. And it actually created a negative aura around him to where he repelled people. And he didn't realize that he was repelling people, but he did because of his negative aura. And so be open to new things. It actually opens your aura up, which then allows other people to come in to your aura and your space, and you grow. So, so here's the card box. If anyone's interested, you can see it. It's called My Soul Challenge by Dr. Renee Purdy, and it's just so pretty. I love it. Haha. Play on words. I love it. Let me just shuffle these cards here. I like to let the universe kind of pick for me what it's gonna. There it is. This is a good one. It says, great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Vincent van Gogh. Well, that is a profound statement by a very tortured and talented soul. Great things are done by a series of small things brought together. One of my favorite paintings of his is Starry, Starry Night. If anyone's not seen that, go look it up. It's pretty, it's been refabricated so many times by different people or whatever. Sorry about the table, I keep bumping that. But it is an actual beautiful thing, and that's true. You know, just little brush strokes. It's amazing how just tiny little brush strokes on a painting, and all of a sudden you step back and it's this amazing scene. And I often think, like, you know, that picture was in the mind of that artist, and somebody who some people would have thought was insane. If anyone doesn't know the story about Van Gogh, he actually was insane, and he actually cut his own ear off. So go read up on that. That's a true story. But there is a fine line between insanity and genius. There is. We don't understand as much about the brain as we think we do, and we're constantly learning. And this right here is connected to our crown. I mean, it's our crown, right? And we only understand about 10% of our brain. Imagine if we use, and we're pretty destructive creatures with using 10% of our brain. So imagine if we did not grow on a more spiritual level. I think if we did, we would get access to more of this. But because we're so closed off to that soul purpose, that soul journey, that esoteric type of knowledge, because we're disconnected from the esoteric, I think that's why we don't get more access to this. And some people that are connected to life on a more esoteric level do get access to it, but whether they're able to balance that knowledge and the downloads just varies on the person, right? And so some people can be perceived as insane, but if you really listen to them, they're not insane. They're just different. And I think we need to be more tolerant as human beings. So I'm just going to go into my app here, and this week, and I'm going to go to level, I'm on level 1, and I'm supposed to pick a card every week, right? So I'm going to scan my card. Let's see if I can scan my card. This could be a challenge. My phone is not exactly the greatest. But I'm not a very technology-minded person, actually. Let's see. I'm sure. Let's see if it needs more light. Haha, I got it. It was the light. Okay, so start my challenge. All right, so read my challenge card. Oh, now this one I think I can do. Because this one is actually one that is on my list of things for the earth anyway. And it says, avoid single use plastics. About this challenge, single use plastics are only used for a few minutes but will last for hundreds of years after being thrown away. They also contain chemicals that wreak havoc on our health and hormone balance. That is true. Avoid single use plastics and switch to reusable bags, bottles, and straws for a cleaner future and a better health. The challenge inspiration is pay special attention to plastic bags, straws, and plastic bottles. Refuse plastic bags and straws. Carry a reusable bag with you. Carry water bottle and travel mug with you. And my suggested daily task. This I just love this challenge because it's not just about like uh, people think like, oh, getting all touchy feely. It's the practical things that make you also grow into esoteric things, right? Because it's not just about the human, it's about the whole earth. And we are just a microcosm of all the things that make up this earth, right? And how we behave affects our environment. And we need to be much more dialed in to that. Single-use plastics is one of those things that we don't think that it matters, so because we're kind of selfish beings that way, and so we use single-use things and we throw it away, and we just think that it doesn't matter. A can of pop, or a single package of something else, whether it's like a single serving of applesauce for the kids, or a single serve anything. So it's a suggested daily task. Refuse straws and plastic bags. Carry a reusable bag with you everywhere you go. Avoid use of single-use plastics when you can. Avoid plastic water or juice bottles. Use containers instead of plastic wrap. Avoid single-use plastics as much as possible today, and commit to continue avoiding single-use plastics. I freaking love it. Just love it. So I've already done that. I'm going to show you guys one way that I do that. So I don't buy coffee out anymore. I don't. I love coffee. Coffee. I'm trying to switch to tea because it's healthier for you, and coffee's super acidic. But I don't buy coffee out anymore. I used to buy like Starbucks every single day, right? And think about that. There's a ton of people on this earth, and if every one of us bought coffee out every single day, I mean, you could buy it out, but if you bought it out, you could like get your own container and fill it up. Now that would be all right, because then you can make a compromise, and Starbucks will do that. They will put your coffee in your container. You just tell them how many ounces or whatever. But that's, and of course now in Portland, and I don't know if that's everywhere in the United States, because I know when the further east you go, they could care less about like the use of styrofoam and plastics and straws and everything. But here in the Pacific Northwest, we are way into our nature. We love pristine nature. We want to keep nature at its optimum level as much as possible, because we enjoy that nature. So if you're a fisherman, if you're a person that loves the great outdoors, hiking, mushrooming, mountain climbing, skiing, snowboarding, water sports, Hood River is just down the highway from us. And so a lot of people from around the world come there for the best winds for windsurfing and kiteboarding and things like that. So we really value our nature around us because we know the effects of human consumption on nature, right? So this is one of the ways that I do it. I carry a water bottle everywhere I go. My kids actually carry a water bottle wherever they go that is a reusable water bottle. I try to avoid, plastic bags. So snack bags, Ziploc snack bags are a huge issue on the environment. People don't realize how bad they are. And I carry a metal straw. I went on Amazon and I went and bought metal straws with the plastic, not plastic, rubber. It's like a latex rubber safety guard so that the kids won't hurt their mouth. But it's just, this much of plastic versus a plastic straw being thrown away every time that's this big that affects wildlife. And we take our straws when we go out. So if we do happen to be somewhere that we get a drink or whatever and the kids want a straw, mommy's got a straw. So those are little things, you guys, that I feel that we can do on our part to help with the environment. I actually have a picnic kit in the back of my car. So it has, plates in there. And yes, it's plastic, but it's a plastic plate that I can reuse over and over again, that I can wash over and over again. And I bought them at IKEA. And so it's not throwing a paper plate away every time. I'm using the same plate. And so then I just, I wash it off with some water and then put it in the trunk of my car. And then when we come home from wherever we're at, I wash it. And so that way, it's a little bit more effort, but it's totally worth it, right? Because we're not adding to the junk in our environment. So I'm done. That's my soul challenge this week. I love my soul challenge this week because it is something I feel like I already do and I can maybe make improvements. So maybe there are things that I slide on sometimes that maybe this week I can make a conscious effort not to slide on. So that's awesome. Let's go ahead and pull some positivity cards. I'm going to remind you again of what our positive affirmation is today. I am open to new and exciting opportunities. So there we go again. Try to be open. Put it in the comment section if you can. And let's see where we get. I'm going to use my Tao Oracle deck. If anyone has, I love the Tao, amazing teachings, the Tao Ching, I Ching, Tao Te Ching is what it's called. And it is an amazing concept of going with the flow and not fighting things, right? But also knowing your inner self well enough to know what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, and not resisting that which is already happening. For example, our environment right now is super hypercharged, right? Especially the political atmosphere. There's a lot of people suffering because of some people's views and their need to push their perspective on the rest of the world and say that people are wrong for being different, right? And so that really affects other people. And for about 2,000 years, we have had a lot of yang energy. Yang is masculine masculine energy. And all of us have masculine and feminine energy, so that we have the yin and the yang. So if anyone's ever seen that, I'm going to show you right here the symbol of the yin and the yang right there, that right there. And as you can see, all of us have a little bit of, masculine energy and feminine energy within us, whether you're primarily one or the other. And so how it usually means is that, and this is not everybody, but this is generally how it is. We all have male and female, feminine and masculine. And this is energies, not necessarily sex organs. So people get really hung up on the whole sex organ thing. That's not it. It is energy. So it is your chi, your energy wheelhouse. And so we have male and female, or feminine and masculine. And some people are more than others, right? And so generally females tend to be more feminine energy and some masculine, and then vice versa. But then we are seeing people in the world, now that we're being more accepting of people's differences and stuff, we're starting to accept the fact that there are some people that are more feminine energies, but are in a masculine suitcase. That's really what it is, and the sooner we start to accept that, I'm going to just adjust this just a little bit. The sooner we start to accept that, the better off our society is going to actually be. And we have an opportunity to grow from that, because that is one of the things that we get super hung up on, right? A lot of people are hung up on the fact that a guy has a penis and a girl has a vagina. And so then they must be feminine for that and masculine for that. And that's simply not true, because we are all here on a soul journey, and what we signed up to come in at, that suitcase, that this body, is part of our soul challenge, and what we agreed to come in as, and accept that challenge. So it's kind of like Mission Impossible in a way, because it's like, should you choose to accept the mission? And that message self-destructed shortly after being told, because you get birthed into this world and you're just like, what? I think it's funny. I'm going to take the one that flipped over. Says the wanderer. Traveling, adventure, movement, coping with unfamiliarity, a pilgrimage, aloneness, broaden your horizons. It's a beautiful card. I love the artistry. I love all cultures. I'm very drawn to all cultures, because I think they can teach us. And we are, we're better off when we accept cultures. So this is a new deck for me. I'm going to go ahead and just read what this card means, because it is a new deck for me, and I'm not as familiar with it as some of my other decks. But let's see here. It says the Wanderer. Traveling means changes. Changes means vulnerability. When breaking new ground, no matter how prepared you may be, sometimes you won't have a clue where you are and what is happening. Isn't that the truth? Life on the road brings us all kinds of challenges you could never have to face in the safety of familiar surroundings. And that's it right there. People are super afraid to get outside of their inner circle, right? They're afraid to go out on that ledge or seek out that new adventure, because it's unfamiliar and it's super scary. And coping with unfamiliarity increases the need to be alert, assume nothing, and take care of yourself. Respect local customs. Remember, when in Rome, do as the Romans. True. No one appreciates being judged as inferior, and once it happens, it creates wounds. So that's kind of my point that I was making, is that we have this yin and this yang energy, right? And we in our world are insensitive to people that are, because we're not tied into that concept of soul energies. We're tied into the physical body and the physical being, and that's actually kind of a roadblock for us. And it's a hurdle that we are just going to have to jump over. That's why we have some people that are super homophobic, because, uh, and I was married to two men that were super homophobic. They said that they didn't mind, but they did, because as if one husband, actually, he would get so upset because, oh, he looked at me that way, and he would get angry and actually verbally combative. And I am of a different mindset. I'm more of the fact that, the soul body versus the physical body, right? And so we're here on a soul journey. And so the yin and the yang is different. And we should be more respectful of that with people and understand they're on a different journey than we are. And we shouldn't judge them for being on their journey, that we should actually learn from their journey, because if we do open ourselves to that, we are opening ourselves up to more love and more appreciation and more understanding, which grows us as individuals. So be wary of any temptation to condemn anyone or anything, because it is different from what you know. Whether judgments are spoken or formed only in thought, or to indulge them with, will create problems sooner or later. This childish habit is a byproduct of insecurity, truth, which puts the unfamiliar down in order to feel superior. So that is one of the things that I felt that I had to learn from the people in my life. There are many people that put people down, and that's one of the hugest turnoffs for me, when people aren't accepting of another person. I went on a date last year with this guy, and he was a really nice guy. He had a lot of great qualities, and he was fit, he was smart, he was funny in a lot of ways. But one thing I noticed at dinner that we had, he made fun of people a lot, and not like a funny comment that would be taking something obvious and making it funny, or just even something just that would be considered just funny or a joke, right? He would actually be kind of cruel funny, or what he thought was funny, but it was actually kind of cruel. And he would make fun of people's inability to do something, and or he would put someone down, and that is a huge turnoff for me as a person, to make fun of somebody. And then I also dated a guy who was very, what's the word I want to say? Kind of controlling, because he was jealous all the time. Like, and that's one thing that's also not a good quality, is jealousy. When you're jealous, and you're controlling of your partner, and you can't let things go, you can't process why you feel some kind of way, but you project it on the other person. Those aren't really good qualities to have. And beware of people that are overly jealous, overly critical, overly judgmental. They have a lot of pain bodies within themselves that they have to do personal work. And that person right there is a person that is challenged. Doesn't mean you can't be friends with them, but I definitely wouldn't recommend engaging in a relationship with somebody that is like that. And it takes a while, because, we find attractiveness to people. We find people are handsome or beautiful, or we find qualities in a way, rose-colored glasses. We find qualities about somebody that we really like, and then we justify how they behave based on, well, they're this way and they have this, this, and this. And I know that they have this and they're jealous and they're overly critical and they're homophobic or they're this or that. Um, they don't like one culture, or beware of someone that's overly angry at everybody but not you, because eventually it'll be your turn. Trust me on that one. I actually was in a relationship with somebody like that. Um, it seemed like they were angry at the world, but not you. But then later on in the relationship, when they didn't have anybody else in the world to be angry at, trust me, they came around to you. So just a bit of advice. So I'm going to pick one more. Let's see. I'm actually going to go with The Magic and Light by Sue Lyon. I actually got this on an Etsy shop. And I'm going to put the links down below. This is a super cute box. She sends it in a tin box. And she does all the artistry herself. She's amazing. I like her a lot. SueLion.com. SueLion.com. And she actually has an Etsy shop. So I'm going to just shuffle her cards. They're so whimsical. And we'll see what comes out. And then we'll close for our day. So it feels like this one is the one that wanted to come out. Just kind of popped out. There's a reason why it kind of just stuck out of the deck. And now that I see it, I love it when the universe works like that. Inner Truth. That's a beautiful card. Inner Truth. And it's a, wow, there's so much imagery in here. It's like a person's hand holding the castle. And there's a person around it and a little unicorn. It's just beautiful and whimsical. And it says, Celtic goddess Rhiannon. Oh, okay. Now I get it. Celtic goddess Rhiannon holding a castle. And it says, have you ever believed a lie because you didn't believe in yourself? I have. Rhiannon asks us to be clear about our own truth. Her magical spirit was compromised because she questioned her goodness and innate abilities and bowed to the lies of others. We all do that. That is the truth. We want to believe what we're hearing as truth, but we don't actually look and listen very carefully and actually discern whether that person that's talking to us is being truthful and honest, right? That's what's going on in this world today. We have a lot of misinformation and we want to believe that this is true or not true, but we're not actually investigating and feeling within our energy wheelhouses, all the way from our crown, our third eye. We're not speaking our truth. We're not feeling it in our heart. We're definitely not feeling it in our gut. And let me tell you that when someone lies to me, when someone is being deceiving to me, I can tell now. Like I didn't always, like I questioned it. And I would always, and that's the rose-colored glasses, I would justify how someone was being. But now I can't ignore it anymore. It's such a pain in the middle of my stomach that I can't. It's not even my head and it's not even my heart anymore. I can just literally be like, nope, bye. You're lying to me. I don't believe that for 1 minute. And it's because I've really worked on myself and my own inner self and knowing myself. And I can also tell, I have ways to tell whether someone is being deceptive. And there are ways you can tell whether someone is being deceptive. First, listen to your inner being. Get in touch with who you are, your soul body, and your soul spirit. And then when you are in touch with that inner person, it will never, 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 ever guide you wrong. So it says, she thought she had lost everything, but when truth revealed itself, she realized her fears were just that, fear. She is asking us to be our powerful selves and question what we believe and what others say. Is the truth in what you hear? Is there truth in what you or we hear? We are all magical people, just in our own ways. Now is the time to step up to own our truth and allow our inner being to escape the bonds of disbelief. So don't live in a bubble. Don't uh, justify someone's actions. If it's not good, it's not good. And there's nothing wrong. Don't be fearful to stand up for yourself. Believe in yourself and know that when I am open to new opportunities and new and exciting opportunities, it might be scary, but if you know who you are, you can definitely navigate that a whole lot better. And uh, stand in your own power. A lot of us don't stand in our own power. We let someone else overshadow us. Um, and I know it probably is like a repetitive thing, but it was such a learning lesson for me to be in a partnership where somebody always like put me down. Like they didn't like me advancing my knowledge or being growing personally. They always thought that my idea sucks. They didn't like it that I was going back to school to get degrees. They didn't like any of my ideas for business or anything like that. When you encounter a person like that, walk away. In fact, run away. Run away from people like that, because those are the energy suckers of the world. Those are the people that want to take your light away from you. I remember one of the things one of my spouses would say is, and this is completely opposite from what you would think a spouse would say, right? Is they didn't want me to be too skinny, like a supermodel. Well, healthy is not too skinny. Being fit, being healthy, being happy, being a certain size that you should be within your core index is living your best self. And I noticed later when I finally came into my own, I realized that this person didn't want me to succeed. This person didn't want me to be my best self. And so they did everything in their power to put me down. And I allowed it because I did not know myself well enough to put up that hand and say, no, time out. I understand that you might have all these opinions of me, but those opinions don't really matter, because what matters is what I know about myself and who I feel about myself. So as you go about your day today, I hope that some of the things that I shared with you today about my own life experience, as well as the affirmations, the soul challenge, and the little story about Rhiannon, really helps you in walking through that doorway of who you are into that new perspective of who you are. Be discerning of what you hear. Don't believe everything you hear. It might be something that is a news outlet. It might be something you saw on Facebook or YouTube, or, a friend said. And I always remember my mom used to say, if a friend jumped off a bridge, would you? And I'm like, well, probably not. Well, that probably not is because no, you wouldn't just jump off of a bridge because your friend jumped off of a bridge. And that parable, that concept is, don't jump off that bridge in your head either, like don't be a lemming. Don't be a lemming and jump off the freaking cliff. Be your own being and stand in your own power. Know what you know. And if you don't know, go find out for yourself and look at both sides of the coin, because there's always two sides of the coin, right? And when you're right, you're right. stand in your power when you know you're right. Don't allow someone to bully you into believing something that is different. And how you know you're right is when you are centered as a soul being and you are connected with your soul purpose and your soul journey. Your chakras don't lie to you. Your spirit guides don't lie to you. They will tell you, they will send you signs, and so look for the signs. A huge sign is synchronicities, like numbers like 111, 222, 555, all those things. 1, 2, 3, 4 is also a sign if you repeatedly see that. I repeatedly see a lot of these numbers, and learning to discern what my spirit guides are telling me is super important. So I'm just going to leave it there. Again, our affirmation of the day: I am open to new and exciting opportunities. Leave yourself open because you never know what adventure you'll end up on. Uh, and great things are done by a series of small things brought together. So know that your action as a single person, when you feel like you can't make a difference, you can. Just one little thing at a time, and we can change this world. So thank you so much for joining me today, and namaste.